Breaking news on today's Ravens Rundown. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as safety Chuck Clark has been traded to the New York Jets in exchange for a 2024 seventh-round pick. The news coming this morning, as obviously this was the big Jets trade that everybody was expecting, right? Here's from ESPN's Adam Schefter as the Jets agreed to send a 2024 seventh-round pick to the Ravens in exchange for safety Chuck Clark, per league sources. Trade is agreed to but cannot be processed until the new league year begins on Wednesday. So with that, the trade not official, but nonetheless, it looks like everything is in the works and ready just to hit send at this point in time for Wednesday. Now, here's the deal as far as Chuck Clark getting traded goes. The Ravens were going to cut Chuck Clark anyway, as they needed to save cap space. They already have that position covered. And so I know it's a seventh-round pick, but just to get something for Chuck Clark at this juncture, to save cap space and to add another pick in 2024, it's something. That's a win for the Ravens, for a player you were going to move on from anyway, to get at least anything for him. To me, you'll take that. I think you're feeling pretty good about that. We'll look into what this means for the Ravens, where they go from here, what the depth chart looks like with Chuck Clark gone. We'll get to all that and more in just a moment. Before we do, what's your one-word reaction to the Ravens trading Chuck Clark? How would you describe this? My one word would be expected. Not something that I was surprised about at all. I know that you're going to have some people that aren't going to like the fact that it was just a seventh-round pick, but I'm telling you, anything at this point for a guy that we're going to move on from anyway, you'll take at this juncture. I say expected, pleased. I think those are the words I would use for my one-word reaction. Give me your one-word reaction in the comment section below. Folks, this is why you subscribe for the best Baltimore Ravens coverage. The news broke from Schefter. We got our resources together as fast as we could to deliver you this breaking news and react to this Baltimore Ravens trade. We are going to be all over the rest of trades as well as free agency, counting down to the draft. We have the Baltimore Ravens covered like no one else does. Subscribe now for free and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/RavensTV for the best on your Baltimore Ravens. Subscribe now for free. You'll be glad you did. Now, there's no denying Chuck Clark had a very good run with the Baltimore Ravens over the last few years, that he had a big impact on this team. And even this past year, when they brought in Marcus Williams and Kyle Hamilton, there was this thought that Chuck Clark was going to take a step back of some sorts. But even then, Chuck Clark rose to the occasion and still had a very good year. Playing in all 17 games this past year, he totaled over 100 tackles, which was more than any of the previous 3 seasons, as well as 4 pass breakups. And you can see he's been very consistent over that stretch. Going back to 2021 and 2020 and 2019, he has been a very nice player for the Ravens. The numbers, according to Pro Football Focus this past year, his overall grade was a 66. In particular, where he was best at was that run defense grade with a grade near 77. Pass defense at 56.3, his coverage grade at 61.2. And this tweet from Jeff at The Athletic, I thought he made a very good point, kind of encapsulating all of this as far as what Chuck Clark meant to the Baltimore Ravens and what he brought to the table over the last few years. He tweeted this out after the news broke. It's not a stretch to say that Chuck Clark is one of the better late-round draft picks in Ravens history. A seventh-round pick in 2017. He played in 96 games with the Ravens. That's a lot of football in that stretch, folks. Starting 63. Morphed from a core special teamer into a starting safety and a defensive signal caller the last 3 to 4 years. And, you know, Chuck Clark, I think he's the story that, you know, a lot of these late-round guys strive for. He earned everything that he got, right? I mean, for a guy that was a late-rounder, that worked his way on the football field to go from a special teams guy to having a significant role with this Ravens team and with what he was able to do here, to me, it's the story of Chuck Clark. Happy for him of how his time went in Baltimore and wish him nothing but the best with the New York Jets when he makes that move up there. No hard feelings at all whatsoever. Certainly, I think most Ravens fans are still going to be rooting on Chuck Clark and hope to see him succeed there with the New York Jets. Of Chuck Clark's tenure with the Baltimore Ravens, what was your favorite memory of when Chuck Clark was around? Let us know in the comments section what comes to mind of what Chuck Clark did for the Baltimore Ravens over the last few years. Tell me in the comment section below what your favorite memory was. St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner, and we have some awesome St. Patty's Day t-shirts that we are selling for you so you can be not only festive and avoid getting pinched, but also representing your favorite team as well. You can get these Baltimore Ravens St. Patrick's Day shirts on sale now while supplies last at chatsports.com/ravensgreen. And I got to tell you, folks, these shirts are going to go quickly. So what are you waiting for? Might as well get yours now before they run out right in time for the holiday. You can get yours today at chatsports.com/ravensgreen just in time for St. Patrick's Day. Get yours now, and you'll be glad you did. chatsports.com/ravensgreen. Now, here's the reality. As much as I like Chuck Clark and most people feel about Chuck Clark, the truth of the matter is the Ravens are going to be just fine without him. Remember, we had talked about last year that there was a lot of trade rumors of Chuck Clark being dealt last offseason because of bringing in Kyle Hamilton and Marcus Williams. And ultimately, with the way injuries happened and a few other things, we saw him get still a lot of playing time, as you saw in those statistics that we showed you there. But going forward for Baltimore, this team is going to be okay. Look, Marcus Williams is a terrific safety. Kyle Hamilton, the future is very bright for him. He showed a lot of good signs in what he did in his rookie campaign. I like where this Ravens safety room is at. Now the next question becomes, when it comes to that secondary, is what do they do about the number 2 corner spot with Marcus Williams as a free agent? Who is going to play alongside Marlon Humphrey, whether it's through the draft or free agency or bringing Marcus Peters back on a discount of some sorts? That's the next thing they have to figure out next. But when you look at cap space, and I know we've talked a lot of cap space on this channel over the last few weeks, especially with the Lamar Jackson situation, but think about this. This move that they made today, the Ravens save about $4 million against the cap. They still need to create about $9 million in cap space by March 15th. So I would expect some more moves, kind of like we saw here, some cuts or some ways to save some cash so they can have some money to spend by the time free agency officially starts next week. So something to think about there. The Ravens needing to create that cap space, save $4 million here. You pick up a draft pick as well for a player you weren't going to keep. I think you're feeling pretty good about that. Grade the trade for Chuck Clark. I think it's solid. I thought you did what you could. I'd give it an A personally. What say you? Let me know in the comment section how you would grade the Chuck Clark trade of the Ravens moving on and sending him to the New York Jets. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Baltimore Ravens there. Plenty to talk about over the next couple of weeks here during the offseason. We got you covered here on the channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on the Ravens Rundown.